Welcome to the Grind to Greatness podcast, where we dive deep into the world of relentless determination, hard work, and unwavering dedication to help you unlock your full potential. We're your hosts, Jonathan and Joseph, and your mentors along this journey to greatness. Each week, we'll bring you inspiring stories, expert insights, and practical tips where we've turned our dreams into reality through sheer grit and resilience. Whether you're looking to excel in your career, improve your health and well-being, or simply level up in life, this podcast is your go-to source for strategies, motivation, and the mindset needed to achieve personal excellence. Welcome back to the show, guys. Episode 4 coming at you. This episode is brought to you by Facts Over Fads Nutrition, where we are nutrition coaches and nutritionists who help you with your nutrition, diet, lifestyle, behavior choices, all of those things. Check out factsoverfads.com if you would like more information. Today's episode going to discuss how do we get started, where do we start on any and every journey or goal that you may have, whether it's health, fitness, business, financial goals, real estate goals. But before we dive in, let's check in. Mr. Jonathan, how are you doing today, sir?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm doing phenomenal. The cooler weather is in season. I mean, it's Texas cool weather, so I'm gonna take the high 70s. Mm-hmm. Is that what it is?
About 85.
85. Jeez, I'll take 85, right? But sure. I'm not gonna lie. I am going to miss. I run at 4 p.m. every day for the sole purpose of being at the hottest time of the day. Definitely. I am going to miss the mental challenge of running 100-degree weather. For sure. Only because I ran. I think it was last week during the morning time, and the temp was like 75, 80. Do you know how easy that run was? I wasn't dying, and I was like, I ran 10 miles, and I was like, came home, babe, I wasn't like tired, I wasn't exhausted.
How far did you run?
10 miles. Yeah, so my minimum runs right now are around 8, 9. Yeah. So 10 was kind of mid.
And you just run to run. Or are you training for something?
I do have a program. I'm not training. I'm training for life. Yeah, dude. I'm just training to
no races.
No races. Yeah. If I want to do a race, cool. I'm ready. Right. I just love to train, dude. But most importantly, my running is my me time to escape. Yeah, it's for me to download and drink as many books as possible, sure. And that's where all the best ideas come from. There's actually a strategy behind it. I read it in a book. I don't mean to take it off topic, but just real quick. When you're tired, is when you get your light bulb moments. It's where your subconscious kicks in, because when you're not tired, you start logically thinking about stuff. Gotcha. And you can only get so far with that mindset, so you got to tap into that subconscious. So if you're ever at night taking a shower and you're like light bulbs, that's when the most likely is at night when the shower. Or if it's intentional, go and deprive yourself. Yeah. Which running for me is like tapping in. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we take it all the way back to religion, just fasting, right? Yeah. And so I know that specifically my priest did a 14-day, like no technology, no nothing. He like secluded himself up in the mountains of Colorado. And he fasted for some of those days. I forget how long he fasted. It wasn't the whole 14 days, and that's what his whole thing was like. That's where he gets the best ideas, closer to Jesus, connection, like just tapping into a completely different part of your brain, I guess.
I want to go on one of those journeys, those spiritual journeys, dude, where you're like just out there and with nature and just your thoughts, like nothing.
Yeah. It's crazy. But neither here nor there. Yeah. Let's dive in, man. We got a lot of questions. And I think a great way to start out this podcast after we did our intros is, how do we begin? If I'm someone who I know I need to change, I know I have a goal, I'm not happy where I'm currently at. And how do I begin? Where do I begin? What do I do? What is like step number 1 for me? And again, guys, remember that we're going to bring you 2 different directions for our answers. Again, I'm going to come from a very... my only responsibility is a dog, where Jonathan has this family of 6 or 7, right? And so different responsibilities. And so, man, for you, if someone comes to you and says, man, Jonathan, I need to get my life in order. I'm not happy. I'm complacent. I notice I'm just mad at the world, but in reality, I'm mad at myself. Yeah. Like, what's going to be your first piece of advice that you give someone?
So, honestly, you have to start with your mindset, right? So people say that they want change, but in reality they don't want change, because they've done this journey so many times where they started, hey, this is it, right? Almost every new year. I'm sick of it, dude. I'm sick of it, right? And they'll start this journey and it doesn't pan out. Or just middle of the year, man, I'm just tired. I'm sick and tired of doing this, and it doesn't pan out. Well, my response to them is, you're not sick and tired of it yet.
Yeah.
You're not. Or else, there's a quote, Tony Robbins, and when I mean sick and tired of it, I mean to the point where you're crying because you're so upset at yourself and you're so devastated that the pain of staying the same is bigger than the pain of changing. That's when you'll change. It's like when it's deep. It's super deep, where I had those moments in my story where I sat down in my bed and I cried because I was so terrible, not terrible, but I was feeling just emotional wreck that I put myself in this position and I hit rock bottom, and that pain of staying right there causes the change.
Right.
And so what I would tell people is you first need to have a sit down moment with yourself. Like, I'm talking about a dead sit down moment where you look at yourself in the mirror and you have a deep conversation with yourself. It sounds weird.
Yeah.
But if you have that deep conversation with yourself and you can ask yourself those questions, are you willing to pay that price? Yeah. Because whatever you're trying to achieve, there's a price tag attached to it.
For sure.
All right.
Yep. And
you got to ask yourself, are you dead serious? Are you willing to pay the price to wake up at 5 a.m. before your family wakes up to go work out?
For sure. And it's funny, I don't think no one really self-reflects anymore. I don't think so. No one, what you're saying, no one talks to themselves, right? And to your point with running, last year we ran so much. I was running by myself. I had no training partners. I was running 8, 10, 12 miles 2, 3, 4 times a week, training for all these half marathons that we were running. And that was where my mental health literally had to change directions for sure. Because you had nothing to think about out there except yourself, And so my mindset shifted then, which prompted me to create Unconquerable. And with Unconquerable, we do the challenges, and every week I send you a reflection form when you're part of the challenge. And I want all the participants to fill out this reflection form, and it'll be different questions about the challenge specifically and how they're doing during that week and what's coming next week, right?
Yeah.
So to your point of, one, you got to hit rock bottom, but you're never going to get there if you don't talk to yourself.
Yeah.
And think through what's actually going on and where do I want to be? And to your point, are you really sick and tired of it, or are you just...
And touch base.
Yeah.
Touch base, because when you're starting to achieve something, you're going to hit an obstacle.
For sure.
You're going to hit adversity. Yeah. But when you hit that adversity, normally you're going to give yourself an excuse.
Yep.
Instead of giving yourself an excuse, this is where you touch base with yourself. And this is where you get sick and tired and recognize, I'm giving myself an excuse. You have to stare at yourself, stop giving yourself excuses, and truly mean it to the point where, dude, I'll be working out and I'm struggling with, business or somewhere in a situation in my life. And I'm thinking, I'm not even working out anymore. I work out for my mind. And I will sit there and I'll fucking have tears while I'm working out because I'm so irritated that I'm not where I need to be. And bro, I come home ready to fucking conquer the world.
Yeah. And it's funny, guys. So, completely different. You're obviously very expressively emotional. Man, I'm not. I don't know why.
Dude, I'm not like that.
I can't tell you the last time I've seen a tear come out of my eye, unless I got hot sauce in it. And so we got two things going on. One, you've got to change your mindset. You've got to truly be at rock bottom and ready and willing to change. And another way to say that is, I think in the fitness community, we say things like find your why, right? That could motivate you maybe to get there. But oftentimes the why is not, you've never self-reflect hard enough to really know your true why.
I think it's, why I go deep into expressing my feelings now is because I know the power of pain.
Oh, dude. I put on a t-shirt.
Dude.
The power of pain.
And understanding the power of pain, but knowing what it can do and leveraging it to your advantage. Yeah. So I go deep. I want to feel the pain. I want to get emotional. For sure. Because that pain inside my chest is going to cause that change.
Yep.
And so once you understand that, you can start moving forward. But here's the problem. When here comes now as pain in this society, what we do is we've gotten soft as fuck.
Yeah. Oh.
So when they feel that pain, we seek comfort. We constantly seeking discomfort, and we want to call it positive self-talk. Love yourself for who you are, right? That's great. Positive self-talk is a tool that can be used to your advantage in a certain context. Right. I can self-talk. I'm about to go perform. Yeah. Let's self-talk. Let's visualize. Let's say I'm a badass. Let's feel it. Right. But you don't need to self-talk in a positive way about yourself when you're about to give yourself an excuse.
Of course. I've done enough. I don't need to do this.
Oh man, my family needs me today. Yeah. No, the fuck they don't. Yeah. They don't. Don't lie to yourself, dude. Your family needs you to work out so you can be better off for them.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's taking that context and just removing positive self-talk and instead go deep into pain. Call yourself a loser.
Yeah. Poor, broke, fat, weak.
But instead of holding that dark energy and not knowing what to do with it, understand to leverage it to your advantage, that pain is your friend and pain is the only thing that's going to push you forward. But people nowadays don't want to feel pain.
Nope.
It's in a society of where you shouldn't feel pain. You should love yourself. And so now that's what we've been taught. Yeah. And you're never going to move forward. I want you to go research the top 10 elite high performers in business in any arena. And they're all going to talk about pain.
Right.
How they leveraged it and how they utilized it. Because, challenge adversity, that's pain. You're either going to break, I think Inky Johnson, you're either going to break records or you're going to get broken.
Right. And so with that being said, and on the subject of Inky Johnson, is another great quote. And I share it probably at least once a week with Unconquerable is, can you be addicted to the process more than you're emotionally attached to the results that it comes with, right? So can you be addicted to waking up at 5 a.m.? Can you be addicted to the pain? Can you be addicted to working out? Can you be addicted to saying no to all the temptations that are in our society today? More so than you care about losing weight, more so than you care about your six-pack. Because what if your six-pack doesn't come? What if your weight loss doesn't come? Are you still going to keep going?
That's tough. No, I want to hear your perspective. I got something for this that may be a little bit weird. And so what do you feel like people can adopt that mindset at the beginning stages?
No.
Okay.
In the beginning stages, I would say you need to do one of two things. I think you either need to hire a coach or a mentor, or you need some form of an accountability buddy. And you need to create some sort of relationship to where y'all both say no excuses. I don't care what it is. Unless someone in your family's dying, that's the only excuse, right? And I say that because you obviously follow me on social media. 2-3 days ago, so I was like, man, haven't woken up early, haven't been doing my workouts, blah, blah. Who's going to help hold me accountable? Well, I had a client of mine, gentleman, shout out to Mr. Patrick, if you ever watch this. He's like, bro, I got you. No excuses. I was like, cool. The last 2-3 mornings, we've been texting each other, 4:30 a.m., 4:45 a.m. You up? Yep. You going? Hey, listen to this song. Hey, listen to this, listen to this podcast on the way to the gym. What are you working out today? Blah, blah, blah. And so I will say, and I have a background of hard shit. I got a background of pain. I got a background of waking up at 4:30 a.m. for the last 20 years. If this is all brand new to you, I definitely think you need someone.
Yeah.
Or, to your point, you truly need to hit rock bottom, which we're so soft in today's
trial and error. Well, because here's my perspective. You can have the best coach, and we know it. You're still not going to be able to turn the switch.
Yeah.
Right. Even if you invest money into a coach, and if it's not a significant amount of money, you're still not going to be invested in it.
That's the tough part, is finding out what creates that investment, because we know it's not money. We waste money on stupid shit every day. I can't tell you how many times people are like, oh, I'm going to pay for this, so it's going to mean so much to me. No, it's fucking not.
It's not, dude. I remember tax return back in the day in my early 20s. When I get it back, I used to pay the whole year of the membership off. And then, I wouldn't go.
You wouldn't go?
I was like $1,200, $1,500.
Can I pay in full? I always tell my clients, no. Can I pay in full? No.
Yeah.
No, because I want to remind you at least once a month what you're paying for.
So, yes, I feel like it's trial and error. If you feel like you can't do it on your own, hey, totally fine. Let's find a coach, dude. Obviously, let's get a coach. Let's get someone that's going to at least be there to help increase the probability of you starting.
For sure.
But unfortunately, you still have to go down that self journey of pain.
Yeah.
Because you can have the best coach in the world. if you can't execute on your own, or at least learn how to push that button to maneuver forward, you're still going to find yourself stuck.
Well, I will say, we last week when we left here, we talked about Deion Sanders, hot commodity right now, right? And I think the power behind a great coach, two things. One, you as a client, when you hire a coach or a mentor, or whoever the case may be, you need to be 100% honest with your story, with your mindset, with your struggles. Because if you hold back, a good coach can't trigger you, can't push those buttons, can't get you to try to remember why you signed up, why you're paying the money, why you're working with them in the first place. And then part two would be to find a good coach who can push your buttons in the right ways.
Yeah.
And so that's the power of being vulnerable, I think, saying, hey, this is what I'm struggling with.
Yeah.
I can't fucking figure it out. I need your help.
That's a different part. That's called ownership that 99% of the people don't have, because they're going to tell you they're doing everything they can, and they're absolutely not. And you're like, something's not adding up, because this is a formula. A plus, 1 plus 1 is 2, and we're not getting 2. You're doing something. You're doing something wrong.
Funny, man. I had a conversation with my best friend the other day. He was like, "Man, I'm doing this, and this. Something's not adding up." And I go, yeah, you're probably not doing this, and this. You're lying to yourself somewhere, And so I said, that's where you got to, 1, truly hit rock bottom, 2, be ready to be vulnerable, to fully communicate your situation to the coach. And then again, hiring and getting a coach that is going to push your buttons. And I mean, we just talked about this, right? Like, how many people have paid us in advance, not really even knowing what we're going to deliver?
I've done that stuff myself.
And so I think as a client or someone looking for a coach, like, don't be afraid to maybe interview the person who you're about to pay. And be like, hey, here's what I'm struggling with. How are you going to help me? So again, if you're starting off and this is brand new to you, like, reach out to that person who you think about. Like, hey, absolutely, I want to hire you, but I need to know you're legit. And I need to know that, hey, when I'm fucking hitting the snooze at 5 a.m., you're going to get me out of bed. And what's that going to be? Because...
And expect to pay a higher amount for a quality coach. Absolutely. Because once again, just because you have a coach and doesn't mean you're going to have the best quality coach. And 9 times out of 10, if the coach is charging a little bit higher price, they're going to be way more invested in helping you versus a coach who is on the lower end side. They probably have hundreds of clients that they're probably, connecting with. And obviously they do want to serve an impact at a higher scale, but the quality... That's why the interview process, that's why the screening process, you have to be sure, like, they're going to do X, Y, and Z. And if you're asking for that much time, you need to be expecting to pay.
You're paying for their time, literally. Time. Right?
Absolutely.
We just talked about this. Like, you get what you pay for. And so if you're looking for a deal, I hate clients who are bargain shoppers. Do you have a discount code? Do you have a promotion? Like, I haven't even talked to you for 5 minutes yet, and you're already asking me for a discount? Like, what? Like, you're not ready.
Well, 1, I wouldn't even accept those clients because I don't want to deal with that headache.
Well, that's why we have a lower end price point. So if you want to, if you want to freaking, like, if you're gonna kind of discount your way through your journey, then hey, I got to discount a product for you. I'm a businessman. 1,000%, right? But if you want a higher quality coach, now we have a higher quality service as well, and it's more expensive.
So, your point. Let's get a coach, right? You have great advice on giving a coach. My aspect of it, let's train and let's learn how to press that deep button. And that's actually something that I'm teaching my athletes right now. I have an athlete who's executing at a high level and I have a leaderboard every single month. Who's executing at a higher level? Who execute more habits than the rest? There's a leaderboard. It's a spreadsheet. And it's been the same kid. Shout out to Gable Martyr. He's crushing it, bro. He's running laps around everyone. And so today I posted the leaderboard. I was like, if this doesn't sicken you, that this kid is beating you and kicking your butt at the shit that really matters, your strength, your speed, your physical abilities, that shit doesn't matter. Okay? It gets your foot in the door. But the detail work that we're executing, that's what kicks that fucking door open and stays open. When you arrive and everybody knows because you're willing to outwork everyone. And I said, I need y'all to respond back, every single one of you, that I'm taking his spot and I need you to own it. Like, so I'm teaching you and I'm pressing and I'm hoping to touch those buttons because you have to learn. We've been taught to not press those buttons, dude. Right? So I want to, give advice to everyone that learn to touch that button And don't hide behind the Netflix, the food, the comfort, the drugs, the alcohol, whatever it is. Instead, sit down and feel it.
Yep, feel it. And not everyone's a winner. Sorry to tell you. Like, there's no participation trophies in life. There's no participation trophies once you go past elementary sports, right? And so it's like, if you want to play, if you want to start, if you want to make money, if you want to lose weight, like, you've got to put in the work. Because when you fail, no one really cares. No one cares. So what do we got so far? We've got to be open to changing your mindset.
Yeah.
You've got to be ready and willing to talk to the person in the mirror and hit rock bottom and have that open, pretty much I'm a piece of shit conversation with yourself. You've got to be ready and willing to be vulnerable if you get help, whether that is through a coach, a mentor, or just an accountability buddy.
That's a power, a secret power, vulnerability.
Vulnerability? Yeah, huge. Now, what else? What if I want to try to do this on my own? Okay, yeah.
So the second one, just hear your thoughts. Raise your standards.
Ooh, but, okay, immediately off the top, standards with what? Standards with myself?
So, okay, for example, we just mentioned that the pain of staying the same needs to be greater than the pain of actually changing. That's when you'll change, right? So, for example, dishes, right? If you're someone who wants to be able to execute and help out around the house, but, seeing dishes doesn't bother you, I want you to practice mentally. Seeing dishes is going to bother you. Get used to training yourself. That needs to bother me. Yeah. That needs to bother me. Yeah. And when it bothers you enough,
I will give
everybody has that for themselves. Everybody somewhere, right? It could be clothes on the floor, and my wife or for me, it's the kitchen. The kitchen is a little weird, and I'm doing something. Dude, let me go clean the kitchen real quick because it bothers me.
I love that because how you do something is how you do everything.
Yeah.
So if you live a messy life, and I know we're picking on dishes and stuff, I think if you live in a messy household, you're gonna have a messy life outside of the household. So a very personal story is when I'm dating. I'm single.
Oh.
If you're dirty, if my style of living bothers you, because if you come to my house, like my house is very military term, but dress. Everything's folded. Everything has a spot.
Looks like an open house.
It's just crazy, right?
Yeah.
Not to say I don't have a dish here and there, but 9 times out of 10, like, everything's done. And if a girl comes over and is like, "Oh my gosh, like, you're so particular. Like, oh my gosh, like, why is it so clean in here? Oh my gosh, like, what? Like, you're so OCD." Not gonna work.
This is the standards. This is the standards of my life.
Yeah.
Right.
It drives me crazy. And it's funny because then when I talk to people about business, and I open up my Google Drive, and my Google Drive is so organized, foldered out of its mind, alphabetically organized, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my gosh, your business is so organized. So is my life. And so raising your standards is huge. So I agree. If you can walk past the dishes or walk past clothes on the ground or live in a dirty household, I think it's a huge reflection of like who you are.
Now, I'm not saying it's easy to just raise your standards, but you have to be intentional and recognize it. And talking to yourself is massive. You got to talk to yourself. Like, if it doesn't bother you, you need to repeat it to yourself. That should bother me. That should really bother.
And figure out why it doesn't.
Yeah.
Why doesn't that bother me? Is it
because somebody else is going to do it? That should bother you even more.
Man, that's huge. And that's where my dad, when I was younger, he used to beat it in my brain. Good help's hard to find. And if you want something done right, do it yourself.
Yeah.
And man, I'm never going to be too good to clean the toilets. You know what I mean? Because I know if I do the toilets, I'm going to do it right.
Yeah.
And that's going to literally put me at ease.
Yeah.
And it's going to allow me to go freely think on my business, on my clients, on growth. Because if the back of my head, I'm like, man, my house is dirty. Man, my toilets are dirty. This is dirty. That is dirty, right?
Yeah.
It's going to block me to be able to grow my business or go grow somewhere else. So I know in the back of my head, if I got a clean toilet, the rest of my day is going to go great.
That's a great point. It should, but it's a skill. Like, everything is a skill. You're not going to get it off the bat. I think people need to understand that when you're doing anything new, like learning to raise your standards, it's a practice.
Yep.
And you have to put in your reps, and you're going to go through adversity, and you're going to how come this isn't working? those are the reasons why you have to keep pushing forward for it to work.
For sure. What was your last thing? You got one more?
I forgot what the last thing was, to be honest with yourself.
But so to wrap that one up, there's a great commencement speech from a Navy SEAL that says, "Make your bed."
That's why my kids in my program make the bed, bro.
Make your bed. It says pretty much it checks the box of I've completed a task today, and it sets you up for success to complete more tasks. And even if you have a bad day, at least you get to come home to a made bed.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And so, man, imagine you have a really bad day, and then you come home to a shitty house. You come home to a dirty house.
I rephrase it a little bit different, same way, but to my athletes, you gotta rephrase it. If you can't make your bed, you're showing me that you have laziness inside of you somewhere.
Yep.
And then when it comes time to perform at a high level, I know there's laziness somewhere that's going to leak out.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because, again, being in the dating world, wake up in the morning, I make the bed. I was dating a girl, and after the second time we spent the night, she made the bed in the morning.
Perfect.
She knew.
Energy. It's the environment. You create it. Things start moving and flowing. I didn't create this. Was it Raise Your Standards? I got it from Tony Robbins a couple of years back. Is because here I am. I was kind of going through a mode of like, I was in one of my low times, right? And I was trying to figure out how to execute my day to the highest level to get these wins mentally, because I was struggling mentally. And so I got on a good wagon. I was executing at a high level, like hard grind, 3 a.m. and just like executing everything to excellence. And I was talking to people, and I was letting them know that, hey, this is what I do. And it was bothering me because there was this point of my life where I wouldn't wash my clothes. Like, I was doing everything. But I wouldn't wash my clothes. My wife would wash them, and she's always washed them. And I remember telling my kids, you need to learn how to wash your clothes. And then I remember like, fuck, I don't even wash my clothes.
Yeah.
And I got so mad at myself. I was so irritated. And I told my wife, I was, listen, I know like this is something that you want to help me. You see that I'm doing everything. Don't wash my clothes. And I still wouldn't wash them. And so until I had like no chonies left, and I had a pile sitting there, and then that pain of fuck, it looks like I better wash my fucking clothes, dude.
It brings us back to that dentist story you had where the mom said, just tell my kid to stop eating candy.
Yeah.
And the dentist said, okay, bring him back in a week.
Yeah.
And he was like, I can't tell him to stop eating candy if I'm eating candy.
I'm just competitive. Like, I'm going to kick my kids' ass at everything they fucking do in terms of washing dishes, picking up around the house, squatting. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I want to be able to lead the standards of, dude, you got a long journey before you pass me up.
Yeah. And that's what's cool about my time in the military was, if there was something out of place or something dirty, you better not let one of your sergeants find it before you do. Because if you see them and they're cleaning up something that you should have cleaned up, so there was that like fatherly competitiveness that was like, they're gonna like, if something's out of alignment, like the sergeant's gonna take care of it, but then you're gonna feel their wrath, you know. So it was a great camaraderie. It was a great like competitive, like, man, just make sure like we're taking care of our environment, as a unit, and everyone's trying to do their part. But if the parent, the sergeant, has to do it and you didn't do it,
you gotta feel shitty, bro. You have to feel shitty. Oh, I remember. So before we head out, we got a couple minutes left. I was able to learn how to tap into that deep emotional state of I hate myself type deal.
Okay.
Through listening to, I created a playlist like 5 hours long of motivational speeches.
Love it.
And so these guys are always in my ear telling me that I'm an asshole for not doing these things. Yep. And I would be like, right? I would be lifting weights and I'm just getting irritated. Eric Thomas telling me, wake up. Or you'll have some other motivational speakers say, if you're not doing X, Y, and Z, like you're basically,
Yep.
And I would that's where the tears would come.
Yeah.
Because these dudes are telling me their story. Yeah. And here I am, not even close to what they're experiencing.
Right.
Their adversity. And I'm whining about this thing.
Yeah.
And this thing's right here stopping me. Mm-hmm. And so that's where it would like trigger.
And I love that. And another one is David Goggins, where he's like, man, when that alarm clock goes off at 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m., you tell your brain, this is what we do now.
Yeah.
This is what we do now. And And I love it. And you got to really, this is the power of podcasting, right? Is you got to find people that you connect with and people who are living the hustle and the grind, right? It's so easy to be like, man, I want to be like that celebrity, and they're sleeping until noon.
Absolutely.
Right? Man. You don't have the freedom right now to sleep till noon. You need to fucking wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. and you need to go get after it. And you need to find the people to motivate you. So it could be David Goggins, it could be Tony Robbins, it could be E.T., it could be Jocko, it could be whoever.
You have to create that environment, because at the very early stages, you're not going to have that environment.
Love it.
Nobody's executing at that level because you're not executing at that level, and high executors don't want to hang out with low executors.
Love
There's
it.
Like, I remember Alabama coach, was it Nick Saban?
Nick Saban.
He's all like, if you have low performers and high performers on a team, it's never going to work.
Yeah, they don't want to hang out with each other.
They don't want to hang out with each other. They're always getting mad at each other. He's like, this is why we're going to weed you out.
Yeah.
If you can't handle the personal excellence, we're going to weed you out, because I need a team of high performers that's going to connect, that's going to bond. They're all going to sacrifice, because you got one bad seed, it's just not going to work.
Absolutely.
And so you have to become one first.
Yep.
And if you don't have that, you create it through podcasts, through books, through making your own friends.
Yeah.
Eric Thomas was like my daddy.
For sure, I listen to him every day. Yeah. Man, I love it. Let's put a bow in it, brother. So again, guys, the topic of the day was, man, if you've got a goal, if you've got some sort of idea that you want to execute, how do you start? Where do we start? And the first thing was with your mindset. The second thing was having those self-talks in the mirror and kind of finding your lowest and getting true, I'm sick of this. The third one was accountability, whether that was through a coach, a mentor, accountability buddy, and being vulnerable, openly honest with that person so that they can push your buttons to get you to the level you want to get to. The next one was
raise your standards.
Raise your standards. Don't walk by the dishes anymore. Don't walk by the dirty clothes. Make your bed.
Intentional. Remind yourself your standards are high now.
For sure. And then last but not least was create a new environment, right?
That supports it.
And so, man, 5 super powerful tips, dude, I think. We threw out some books, we threw out some podcasts, we threw out some motivational speakers. Yeah. So I hope you guys got something from there. You can go research some more. Other than that, brother, what else we got?
Man, dude, let's just send them off and let's crush the rest of our day. We got things we got to take care of.
We got things to do. Let's do it.
All right, guys. So y'all have a phenomenal day. Until next time.